Namaste and welcome back, dear aspirants, to another insightful video on Sociology made easy through PYQs by UPSC Jugaadoo, your very own Jugaad to UPSC CSE. So, get ready to dive into the world of Sociology and master CSE exam questions with our unique Jugaad techniques. By the end of this video, you will be equipped with a clear roadmap on how to approach Karl Marx related questions. We'll break down the concepts, give you practical examples linked with contemporary issues that will make your theories connect the dots and sticks in your minds like a glue. So let's start with today's topic, that is Karl Marx. Oh wait, Karl Marx? Well, worry not, because we are going to break it down, simplify it and equip you with the ultimate toolkit to tackle Karl Marx related questions with confidence. So let us see the trend of last 5 years, the importance of Karl Marx. These questions carry a significant weightage of 20 to 40 marks. Each year, there are 1 or 2 questions every year that have been asked on this topic. We'll show you how to prepare the topic, a short way of scoring, how to use your creativity in the answers, and of course example which will enhance your marks in each question by 1 or 2. So let's see how we go through the topics of our first thinker, Karl Marx. Aspirants, because we are going to navigate through this together, I hope you give up all the fears by the end of this video. We are not going to drown you in the sea of theoretical jargons of 15 to 20 pages of rote learning, but we are going through our signature Jugaad approach. So what is Jugaad? We've already told you. By the end of this video, you will be equipped enough with Karl Marx topics. So let's start one by one looking at the topics. We'll see the mode of production, and here there are several questions on this topic. First is critically examine the dialectics involved in each mode of production as propounded by Karl Marx, which is a 20 marker. What characterizes degradation of work in capitalist society according to Marx? So ये टॉपिक में आपको सब टॉपिक्स लिखने हैं सारे मार्क्स के, जिसके पॉइंटर्स मैंने आपको यहाँ पे दे दिए हैं, which is a combination of mode of production, what exploitations with the workers faced, commodity fetishism, 4 types of alienation. In brief, concepts of all the subtopics in the theory of Marx. Now we'll see the first topic, mode of production. And I believe ये क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करने के बाद आपको मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन प्रिपेयर करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, बिकॉज यहाँ से आपका सारा चीज़ प्रिपेयर हो जाए. So coming back to the question, critically examine the dialectics involved in each mode of production as propounded by Karl Marx. So हम understand करेंगे demand of the question. First of all, मैं यहाँ पे dialectics की definition लिख दूँगी. That is, dialectic usually shows 2 contradictions. Example, thesis, antithesis. Marx used this to show how a mode of production displaces the earlier one because of the contradiction inherited, weakness, etc. So फिर हम define करेंगे all the modes of production, the final stage after the evolution of every mode of production, and then कार्ल मार्क्स ने कोई solutions दिए हैं ये सारे issues के, वो देखेंगे. and because it is critically examined है तो हम criticism लिखेंगे यहाँ पर, and then we'll give a good conclusion of the topics. So let's go ahead. His 6 stages of mode of productions are: first is primitive communism, where all are equal and all have equal access to forces of production. It's a hunting gathering society based on cooperation, ownership by none. With the emergence of private ownership, contradictions emerged. This negates the primitive communism, who held command over the tools emerged as masters and dependents became the slaves. So here we move to the second mode of production, that is ancient slave mode of production. Some men had control over skills. Now here the skills are important. यहाँ पे एज सच कोई स्पेशलाइजेशन नहीं था इन प्रिमिटिव कम्युनिज्म. Now slaves did not have control over the labor also. As population increased, slaves are pressurized to produce more, exploitation increased and slaves revolt. हर एक स्टेज में रिवोल्ट होगा एंड वहाँ से न्यू मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन आएगा एंड फ्यूडलिज्म विल इमर्ज इवेंचुअली. एंड फ्यूडल लॉर्ड्स आर प्रीवियसली जो मास्टर्स थे वो फ्यूडल लॉर्ड्स बने और जो स्लेव्स थे वो सर्व्स बन गए यहाँ पे. नाउ इसमें डायलेक्टिक्स क्या है? This is dialectics. I'll show you a diagram at the end of the answer जहाँ पे आप बहुत क्रिएटिव रिप्रेजेंटेशन करते हैं हर एक मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन के. ओके, सो फ्यूडलिज्म में लैंड वॉज द सेंट्रल आइडिया. फ्यूडल लॉर्ड कंट्रोल्ड द लैंड and serfs were forced to cultivate the land, pay taxes and services that kept on hiking. So ultimately revolt and capitalism will grow. So capitalists were what? Feudal lords and serfs became the workers. Now capitalism में capital was the central to the production. Labor produced wealth, wages were low and therefore surplus was created. अगर आप कोई प्रॉफिट जनरेट करते हैं एंड आपका खर्चा बहुत ही मिनिमल है, बहुत कम वेजेस भरने आपको, तो आपका प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमाइज होगा विच विल क्रिएट अ सरप्लस फॉर यू. सो कैपिटलिस्ट gobbled up the surpluses. Workers lost control over their labors as well, so they started feeling alienated. So alienation is a topic of Marx that we'll discuss in the next answer. So workers revolted and a new mode of production, that is socialism, was emerged, and eventually this is an intermediary phase, and after that final stage is again communism. Thus new mode of production negated the previous mode of production due to contradictions. Socialism, here proletariat will topple bourgeois through revolt, will control forces of production. Dictatorship of the proletariat will happen, and this is a transitory mode as we discussed earlier. Advanced communism, in this mode no state exists because it's communism. A person's true self will reintegrate with self. There is a concept known as being in alienation. So a person will reintegrate with the true self of him, that is termed as being by Marx. So forces of production would be communally owned, collective production would remain, and this is the final stage of Marx. Hereafter dialectic principle will cease to operate. This is the closing of dialectical materialism. So I'll show you a diagram here. You can make a diagram like primitive communism, then यहाँ पे मास्टर्स, हर एक स्टेज में रिवोल्ट होता है. दिस इज थीसिस, दिस इज एंटी थीसिस. यहाँ पे रिवोल्ट नहीं होगा बट लेटर स्टेजेस पे रिवोल्ट होंगे. योर स्लेव्स, देन अगेन सिंथेसिस होगा. सो दिस बिकम्स द न्यू थीसिस विच विल बी लाइक फ्यूडल लॉर्ड्स. फ्यूडल लॉर्ड्स का एंटी थीसिस है सर्व्स. देन new synthesis, that is bourgeois, एंड देन इसका एंटीथीसिस है प्रोलेटारिएट. So here you can represent creatively through a diagram. Coming back to critically examine था, so we'll write some criticism. Asiatic mode of production is counter to his theory. He defined Asiatic mode of production previously, जहाँ पे वो बात करते हैं कि कम्युनिज्म रहता है वहाँ पे एशिया में. तो he countered his own theory by the concept. He ignores aspects related to consumptions because workers work for standard of living and not that they always are oppressed. You can write some more criticisms like it's a utopic concept because revolution is very far-fetched concepts from the reality. And even in communist countries, classes do exist. So his theory was mostly theory, it wasn't practical. So we'll end up with a positive conclusion or a way forward most of the times if we happen to write a good conclusion. Nonetheless, his theory enhanced our understanding about various socio-economic formations and evolution. So this is a positive conclusion. अब ये आंसर से हमें ये पता चल गया कि MOP के लिए हमें और कुछ करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. We've prepared our 300 words for mode of production and I don't think you can write anything more than this. So this is our jugaad. Ultimately you don't have to prepare anything else but an answer which is self-sufficient for your theory. आपको तय करके जाना है कि आपको इतना ही लिखना है. And now see, this answer consists of some point format which is very appropriate. कुछ आंसर्स में आपको पैराग्राफ लिखने की ज़रूरत है या फिर कुछ आंसर्स में आप बुलेट पॉइंट्स लिखेंगे, सब पॉइंट्स लिखेंगे, सब हेडिंग्स लिखेंगे. दैट विल डिपेंड ऑन योर क्वेश्चन. एंड आई वुड टेल यू टू रेफर जागृति अवस्थी मैम्स आंसर शीट्स. शी इज़ रिटन very beautifully organized answers in few bullet points, so you can refer to her copy. Now we'll come to the second topic, that is alienation. Alienation में 3 questions है. Here we see 2018, 19, 2020. So this is a different topic but it comes under the alienation. ये हम next video में discuss करेंगे. First question लेते हैं. According to Marx, how are human beings alienated from their potential and what does he suggest to change this? जहाँ पर भी मार्क्स आए, अगर कोई भी चीज़ का सॉल्यूशन है तो वो है बगावत, क्रांति. तो अल्टीमेट सॉल्यूशन इज रिवोल्ट. सेकेंड इज क्रिटिकली एसेस द मार्क्सियन थ्योरी ऑफ एलियनेशन. सो इस आंसर के लिए हम डिफाइन करेंगे व्हाट इज़ एलियनेशन, फिर थ्योरी लिखेंगे उनका. हाउ आर ह्यूमन्स एलियनेटेड फ्रॉम द पोटेंशियल. लास्ट इज क्रिटिसिज्म, सॉल्यूशन जो कि थ्योरी के साथ ही आ जाएगा. देन देयर वुड बी अ कंक्लूजन. अगर आप ये फिनोमिनन रीसेंट टाइम्स में देख रहे हैं तो यू कैन कोट सम एग्जाम्पल्स. ओके, so let's begin with alienation. Let us see the question. According to Marx, how are human beings alienated from their potential and what does he suggest to change this? So I already told you, let's define what is alienation. Alienation means separation from. It's का literal meaning है ये. The relationship between labor and human nature is perverted in the capitalist mode of production. This kind of relation is known as alienation. अब human nature क्या है? मार्क्स उसे कहते हैं कि being, जो वो खुद की नज़रों में जैसा खुद को देख रहा है, that is his being. तो वो that relation perverts in capitalism. So being is lost. That is why he is alienated. So in capitalist mode of production, labor is being reduced from means to ends. Labor is now owned by the capitalist. Thus, the interconnection among the workers and what they produce breaks because they no longer own the things that they produce. पहले क्या होता था कि surplus नहीं था. It was only for their own sustenance that they produced. That is why whatever they produced was owned by them. Thus now in capitalism हर एक चीज़ मार्केट से खरीदनी पड़ती है हमें. That is why the connection between what they produce and the labor is lost. So it is a feeling of disenchantment, and it is caused due to objectification of his creativity. This causes to lose his individuality. He becomes a slave of production. The alienation increases as the mode of production changes. So as we see, primitive communism से हम अलग अलग stages पे गए, and then finally capitalism. So the alienation increases with each stages, and if stages के साथ increase हो रहा है तो with time it will increase, right? So alienation is highest in capitalist mode of production, and it happens in two ways. It increases with time. The degree increases with the mode of production changes. It is least in the primitive communism and peaks in the capitalism as work becomes a suffering in capitalism, as we've already seen through various stages. And it increases with time because material forces become stronger and control over forces of production becomes tighter, leading to exploitation. So slaves in ancient mode of production alienated due to more work and less food. And of course we see in capitalism the working conditions are really bad, and therefore alienation is maximum in this stage. So Marx explains that alienation in the capitalist mode of production, as the commodities which are produced in the factory are sold in the market, becomes fetishes, as workers have to purchase them in the market what they produce in the factory. So commodities assume importance rather than the labor, and relation between man and man becomes insignificant. So अगर man और man के बीच में relation insignificant है तो man और things के बीच में बढ़ जाना चाहिए, right? So labor of the man is commoditized as the relation between man and things gains more value. So labor भी commodity ही बन जाता है वहाँ पे, because labor is also sold in the market, right? Thus alienation results, and this happens in 4 dimensions. Alienation from the process of production, alienation from the product, because of course labor has to buy it from the market and the product does not belong to him anymore. Alienation from the fellow workers, as the work is compartmentalized. हम यूजुअली देखते हैं बड़े बड़े कंपनीज में कि वर्क्स इज डन इन पार्ट्स. तो one person will do this much of work, second will do this much of work. So they are compartmentalized, and the interaction becomes less and less due to this. So last is alienation from oneself and one's potential, as we've termed being. Work is external and it is not the part of his nature, because he's not producing what he wants to own. He's just selling his labor in the market. These 4 dimensions lead to inversion of subject-object relationship, and relationship between men change. The solution is communism. And how can communism be reached? It could be reached through a revolt. And alienation could be fought when the being of the man is truly realized. And जब being कब realize होगा? When he owns his own labor. और ये कब possible है? It is possible only in communism. So let's see the criticism. So Durkheim says anomie and alienation could be corrected by existing structures. अब ये लोग हैं functionalist. ये कहेंगे कि भैया सोसाइटी में जो भी लॉज एंड रूल्स हैं या फिर इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनके द्वारा ही सोसाइटी में एक अनोमी या एलियनेशन का स्टेट करेक्ट हो सकता है. तो हमको चाहिए इक्विलिब्रियम सोसाइटी में, शांति चाहिए, एंड ये सिर्फ सोसाइटी खुद ही कर सकती है. कार्ल पॉपर, एलियनेशन will lead to some creative ideas. You've seen scientists or poets or any creative person or research के बंदे वो ज़्यादा alienated रहते हैं so that they get creative ideas or a solution to problems. Now third is Goldthorpe and Lockwood say workers are more concerned about the ends, that is standard of living. Work, labor is just a means. Don't use a shortcut. Right standard. So work and labor are just the means. C.W. Mills says not just working class but white collar also suffer alienation. Of course in modern day terms आप यूज़ कर सकते हैं कि लोग डिप्रेशन में आ जाते हैं. कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स दे सकते हैं कि people suicide because of the workload, they're not able to sustain. And then it is not like that कि हर बार suppress ही होंगे. There are informal relationships also. I think Hawthorne study में बोला गया है कि there are informal relationships in an organization which make the work culture suitable for people to sustain themselves. Okay, so we'll end up with a conclusion, suitable conclusion. The concept of alienation is extremely difficult to measure. It has lost much of its original significance as it is disputed through the work of many scholars contemporarily. Okay, so बहुत सारे theories हैं जहाँ पे बोला है कि alienation is a far-fetched idea. And even in today's world we see that even after being so busy we socialize and we are seldom alienated, at least not on the face of it. So of course it terms the idea of Marx as utopic at times, but then his theory helped us to decode some of the social aspects. So here I wrap up today's video. Dear aspirants, I hope you found our Jugaad techniques for approaching Karl Marx questions enlightening. Stay tuned for part 2 of Karl Marx, where we'll discuss the remaining topics. Remember, with consistent effort and right strategies, you can unravel even the most intricate concepts. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, don't forget to give a thumbs up and share it with the fellow aspirants so maximum people may gain benefits. And subscribe to our channel for more Jugaad tips and discussions. And we are here to bring you the ultimate Jugaad for your CSE. I think make the most use of it and subscribe the channel if you like the video. Stay tuned, stay motivated and keep embracing the Jugaad mindset. Until next time, keep studying smart and keep chasing your dreams. This is your known UPSC Jugaadoo signing off. So, Jai Hind. Bye.